Hey, Zach.
Hey Neha, sorry I'm a minute late. I went to the CLT meeting again accidentally. Are you guys
No
ready to
worries.
start?
Sure.
Okay. Let me bring it up over here on the agenda. I will do my best to get us out of here before 30 minutes is up because I haven't done that in any meeting in like the last month. Um, Okay, so first of all, we didn't get Google Season of Docs. I don't know why. I said this a little while ago in the CLT meeting, but I'll say it again. I don't know why. As far as I can tell, our beginner's guide text was at least as good as other things that have made it through before. I looked at last year's proposals, which Ceph didn't get in last year either. I almost wonder if maybe Ceph is too big and well established for them to want to throw an intern at it. I don't know. That's the only thing I can come up with. I'm waiting on an email back from them. Maybe they'll tell us what we can do better next time. Uh,
That would be
but
helpful.
I'm yeah. Um,
Did you take a
I'm
look at
gonna do
the
the begin.
accepted proposals? Did they publish a list or anything?
I don't think they're out until later today, maybe, I think. I think it's on the
Okay.
14th. So actually, my today, so tomorrow, I guess. So I guess in California, I think that they get published on the 14th. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think they're out yet. I did get another email that said it was like meant for technical writers or for to say like here comes, get ready for the list. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, that's crummy. Um, Still, the idea for the beginner's guide isn't a waste of time. It's a thing that we do need to have, and this is I'm sort of jumping ahead to the seventh item on the agenda, but the CII best practices documentation compliance wants simple definitions of everything. So that's exactly what the beginner's guide would be. So that um, Lucas Cervini of the Pawsey Supercomputing Center in Perth here in Australia contacted me earlier this week, and he says that there is not a way to query the API with any of the standard tools, so I raised a bug against that. And
Hmm.
I guess you guys are good to ask, who who should I talk to about getting some basic documentation down for querying the API? Or is that maybe like
Um,
not a docs bug? Maybe that's just a bug right now that exists. I don't know.
so what do you mean by querying the API? You mean the Redmine paste API? Like, what is the aim here? I'm trying to understand.
Uh, Give me a second to bring up my notes. This is like 3 or 4 days ago. Let's see. No, not that one. Bootstrap. Can't search for anything quickly on this. This is irritating. Let's talk about this some other time when it's not in the middle of a meeting. I'll get the answer to you. Um,
Sure.
when I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
just, when I'm not just
I
causing
think
dead
I'll be
air.
able to answer your question better if I understand what exactly they mean. And in general, if there are issues related to the tracker or like, adding things, uh, getting access to things, it's David Galloway, but maybe there are other people who can help you if you tell me what exactly you need.
No, it's not that. I've already raised an issue in the tracker. I was looking
Hmm.
for it, but I'm not familiar enough with it yet to find it immediately. So it's still the
Yeah.
Klingon bird of prey from Star Trek 4 for me, and I am the human crew trying to fly it. So I'll get there, but I'm not there yet. Um,
Sure.
let's see. We'll go to Ceph.io stuff. So since David gave me access to Ceph.io, I've been removing about 25 spam comments a day. I'm trying to keep the number of spam comments underneath the number of active Australian COVID-19 cases, and so far so good. We're at about 615 cases here in Australia, and I think we're down to like 570 or 80 spam comments. And then when there's a comment that's useful that links to a blog that has a guide for how to set something up, I approve that. I didn't ask anybody whether I should or shouldn't, but it just seems like there's a giant queue of stuff sitting there. Some of it's obviously useless and some of it's obviously useful. So if anybody has any problem with that, I apologize for taking the initiative. But also, Lynn's asked me to add myself to the core team page in the last CLT meeting, so I did that as well. I haven't added a picture of myself or anything. I might do that, or a biography of myself, or like witty biography like everybody else did. I might do that later. We'll see. It's not my highest priority, but at least like the way to contact me is there. Is that this is a question for anyone who knows, anyone who's listening. I'm talking to Neha mainly here, but if anybody else knows it, is Ceph Vancouver canceled or is it still on?
Um, Most likely canceled, but you should check with Mike Perez.
Mike Perez. Okay, let me I'll just put that in the notes here.
When is it? Like, what is the date?
It's in June. I don't know the exact date. I know that it's in June of this year, which I would think would mean yes, it's canceled. It's on the
Yeah,
Pacific coast and it's an international event, so
yeah,
it would be
yeah,
insane
yeah,
to hold it. I mean,
yeah.
we're not serial killers. We're just people interested in distributed redundant
No,
storage.
the reason I'm asking you to check with Mike, but maybe it'll convert into a virtual event or something. I'm not aware, so
Mm.
just check
Yeah.
with him.
There was some, I can't remember who it was right now, but there was some justified complaints about all these events being mentioned on the Ceph.io website when they're not happening anymore. So some of them have been removed, but there's still a big occasional advertisement that comes up for Ceph Vancouver. So I'll ask Mike.
Mm.
This is more of a procedural question for me. How can I get notifications from GitHub in some way where like I can be alerted? Because Sebastian pushed a bug back or a pull request back to me like 8 days ago when I was working on the Google stuff, and I could have just done it. I could have pushed it right back to him immediately if I had known. Is there when someone ats me on at sign zdover23?
Mhm.
Uh, Is there any way that I can like get an alert on my phone that that has happened? Or,
You should
I mean,
get
that would
an
be
email. You should get an email on your email associated with your GitHub account.
okay. I guess I'll have to go through folders and
There are
um,
other ways to do it as well. If you just go and look at all the pull requests, and there are filters where you can if somebody requested a review from you or something like that, mentioned you or something like that. You should just go to like Ceph Pulls and just search for your handle, GitHub handle.
okay. I I've never been in this position in an organization before. I've always been like a person who was given a thing to do and not a person who had to
This
consolidate things
this should
together.
do it.
So,
This should do it. I
okay.
just I sent a URL. This should.
Okay. Could you send it to me also through IRC? Yeah, I know it's really
Will
irritating, but I'm on the only piece of hardware that I have that can handle the video, which is my iPhone.
sure.
And everything else is an old ThinkPad from 5 years ago. Um, Thank you. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna ask for some sepia training, and I want to write a little simple little document for internal use for
What do you mean by
using
CPR training? Like how to use
like
the lab for
yeah,
testing?
yeah, how to use the lab. Just like
Okay.
basic, yeah, locations and like a nice little document. And then uh, but
There is, for what it's
I'll just
worth, there is some document already, but I don't know if it's up to date. Um, Let me pull that up. I
oh
guess.
wow, I've I've been assigned to more PRs than I realized. Some from last June, July.
Have you looked at the pathology setup, like intro to testers or that section, which is already there?
I might have. There was you guys sent me something that I went through some time ago, like a couple of months ago, and it's like it's been in the back of my mind, like a thing to get back to. That's not what
Yeah, I think if you just look at the,
that this thing already exists that I want.
I mean, the part of it does, but I'm not sure how updated it is. So rather than writing something from scratch, you might just want to update this. I guess this is it. I'll just paste this for you again. Okay, I'm pasting it here, and if you want, I can RC it to you as well.
Please, please do. The IRC one is the one that's that persists. Thank you. Boy, is that really
So,
loud?
that's fine.
Okay.
So there's a
Um,
bunch of stuff in here, and there might be references to Sepia and Sepia Access and stuff. You should go look what works and what does not, and just update it.
okay. Yeah, I haven't actually done this one, so I will.
Yeah,
I
for
will.
example, we have a Google Summer of Code student who's working on tautology, and she was going through some of these steps to set up tautology. And turns out, after we've switched to Python 3, some of our dependencies and requirements have become old, so they are not up to date. So those are the kind of things we might be looking for to update.
Okay. Uh, then I'll go through that. I guess maybe not alongside, but in the same couple of days that I write down all the Ceph ADM stuff, which is another thing that that when you and Josh and I speak next Friday, I'll have a list of like any issues that come up in the Ceph ADM installation, like a manual installation. Not absolutely manual, a Ceph ADM install. You understand what I mean? I'm not
Hmm.
installing it from source. I'm not insane. Um,
Sure.
and then, so an ongoing thing that I want to bring up that is for absolutely anyone who can hear my voice is this thing I'm thinking of calling the Encapsulated Definition Initiative, which is just how can we explain to people who are interested in storage redundancy but don't know any of the parts of it, like how can you give them just a couple of sentences that have no sprawl and no side trips, and you just get a good idea of what this one concept is. And so that will go hand in hand with the idea of creating a beginner's guide, and it will also help to clean up the website. We need to have a landing page on the website that says very basically like Ceph provides data redundancy and it can be distributed, and I mean the words obviously have to be better, but it has to give like the basic idea for people who don't. I don't want to just say it's a big fancy raid, but that would be like that is how I describe it to people who ask, what is it like? What do you write about now? What are you working on? Like it's Ceph. What is Ceph? Well, it's like a RAID sort of, but it doesn't have to be all plugged into one thing. So,
Mhm.
um, so I want to get encapsulated definitions of every little thing, like uh, erasure coding, for instance. It's like a way of doing a math problem so that you spend more processing power, but you don't have to save as much stuff on a disk. So you don't take up as much storage space, but it requires more computing power. So it's the old H.264, H.265 video codec trade-off. And
Okay.
um, that's an ongoing thing, but it's going to be a thing that I mention a whole lot. Is like whenever we talk about anything, can we get that into one or two sentences? And I want to be clear to everyone who is listening to this, either now or if for some reason you're listening to this in the future. I know that any small number of sentences will of necessity be heuristic, but the idea is that it will be like that. That's precisely the point. It's not meant to be completely accurate. It's meant to be a starting point for people who don't know anything about it yet and want to go from knowing nothing to knowing enough to start making decisions about what they want to learn. Okay, and so then the final thing
And
is this, what, oh, go ahead.
where do you yeah, where do you envision that'll go? Like, do you want it to be in the website or in the docs or like where?
Um, it will be, it will be everywhere. It will be baked into everything. Like it won't just be, this isn't like a list or anything like that. This is just like, it will be at the top of anything that is not a procedure that purports to give people a deeper understanding, or maybe not even a deeper understanding than just knowing what the words are. It'll be on every time there is an explanation needed, there will be like a small, if you only have a couple of seconds to read something, definition, so that there's uh, what I envision ultimately, and this is a multiple month project, is a website that is easy to navigate, that you land on, and it gives you this very basic paragraph explaining what Ceph is. And then there will be a thing that explains how to install it. And we pretty much, I think, have that with the Ceph ADM procedure. I think it still exists pretty much intact. Um, and then after that, and so in the installation procedure, there will be places where concepts that might be unfamiliar to a first-time user would make use of this encapsulated definitions initiative, like the output of this encapsulated definitions initiative. This is not just like a one-time thing. This is just like an ongoing habit of
Mhm.
always trying to get things into this simple, clear, heuristic form of expression. And then uh, once they've completed the installation guide, they should then be able to navigate to other places in our online documentation that give them the information they need to build out their particular implementation of Ceph, their particular installation. And um, I know that's how I want it to look. I mean, that's the vision for the thing. I don't yet know exactly what obstacles stand in the way of getting that thing done. But
Let's, I would suggest to start out with a skeleton and of what you envision. It could just be a block diagram of things that you think make sense, and then we can figure out how we can uh, make it more understandable in the sense, group things in a way that makes sense. And we also don't want it to be super invasive, so we want it to be a finite list of things that people really care about. And then we have the right people who
yes,
can fill in those blanks once you have the skeleton out. So I think that's the best way to go.
and this might go without saying, but things like this are always. It's better when it's not a giant committee of people each making one little change. Then that's how you get the sort of the organization on the docs website is bad. The content is quite good. It's really not that bad. It's just very hard to find anything, and it's because it's like I used to work at a place where the CEO kept all of the receipts for everything in one big thin plastic shopping bag. And that's kind of what the documentation is like now. Like it's not filed properly. Like there are bits of it that are organized and filed, but then when you click on that side pane, it's very confusing. So the installation guide needs to lead to a simple map of how to find what it is you want to do next.
Yeah.
I know also that Lars is working on some initiative. I think Lars is at SUSE, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
He's working on this initiative to get a completely new website. Do you know about this?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's been
Okay.
ongoing for a while. I don't have latest updates, but I'm aware of this in general.
Yeah, I'm supposed to meet with him sometime. We haven't made a time yet, but I will meet with him, and of course that'll become a part of what we do, what I do,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, And then I've added a link to this best practices documentation compliance list that came up in the CLT meeting just a couple of hours ago. And I think there's three things on there that are documentation related that have a red dot next to them, meaning that it's not listed as being done. I think one of them we have a fair. We do provide documentation in English and a link explaining how, or offering readers a chance to make improvements or to make suggestions.
Mhm.
But the other stuff on there tracks with what we've been saying the whole time we need to do long term.
Mhm.
Uh,
Cool.
so I think that in a way that's good because it means that we're not crazy. We're thinking about the right things, or at least we're all thinking the same thing. And that is my update. I'm sorry about the season of docs. It's a bummer that we're not going to get a season of docs writer, but we'll still do the thing anyway.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. It'll be good to find out if they have reasons that they can provide for
Hmm.
not picking our application, then we might be able to do better next time, but it's okay.
Yeah, I hope so. But
Yeah.
I will invest this time in. I'm trying to clear one bug a day if I can, which is a lot, but
Mhm.
that's the plan right now. Is just like one bug a day every day.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, a couple of things, I guess, we spoke about redirecting docs.ceph.com to the read the docs version
Yep,
last week, and I think we should
that
go ahead and do
happened.
that. That happened?
Oh, I
Okay,
think
cool.
yeah, I believe that's already done. Let me make sure. Uh, yeah, I talked to David Galloway and no, okay. No, it didn't. My bad. I will ask for that to be done immediately.
Okay, and we should just make sure that our reporting documentation bug mechanism is ported to that uh, read the docs version of it as well. I think that was the last item left for us to figure out. Does it make sense?
Okay, so it's make sure that the report a bug link on Read the Docs
Yeah.
points to the GitHub, right? Do I have that correct?
I mean, there currently, if you look at our docs page, it has an edit on GitHub and a report a documentation bug. So read the docs already has an inbuilt edit on GitHub feature, so we can
Hmm.
get rid of the bells and whistles that we had added in our code base for that. But we still need the other bit about report a documentation bug, which just redirects to um,
It
the
reports to
Etherpad.
tab.ceph.com. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So do we need to preserve the redirection to report documentation
yeah,
bugs? Do I understand that
yeah, yeah.
correctly? Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Got it. Preserve, redirect to Etherpad to docs Etherpad.
Yep. And are you aware that there's some new items that got added to that Etherpad? I think
No,
there's,
I haven't looked. I haven't looked at it since last
yeah,
week.
maybe that's
I was
worth looking at. It
going in it
definitely
now.
looks new to me. Yeah, you can do that at your own time. I just wanted to bring that up. And I think the final thing is about your object store tool documentation PR.
Uh-huh.
I think David is going to be reviewing that this week, and then we should be ready to merge it. David
Okay.
Zaffman.
Is all right. I guess then I need to go back over it and make sure that
I mean, I
everything
don't
is the
think
way it's supposed to
he
be.
hasn't reviewed it yet, but once he does, if there are any more comments, you might have to address them. But then, just wanted to
Okay.
let you know.
Sure. I'll be on it. I'll be like ready to get it turned around as quickly as possible.
Cool. Then I think that's all I had as well.
Yeah.
I think Patrick
I
already
used the
left.
whole 30 minutes.
We have Jan on the call. Anything you have uh, for us?
No, I was just chipping in, seeing how these meetings are. I haven't joined previously, so
Hmm.
trying to see how to be able to help out with documentation parts if possible.
Well, if you want to look at the tracker, the Ceph tracker documentation tag, those are all the bugs that are open right now.
Yeah,
I've got about 8 that I'm working on. Anything that jumps out at you that you have that looks obviously wrong or that needs to be expressed better, let me know.
yeah.
Cool. Thanks. All right.
Okay,
I
thanks.
think that's
Sorry I used the
all.
whole 30 minutes, Neha.
No worries. It's meant for you to use. So glad that you're
Yeah,
using it.
but okay.
Yeah.
Well, uh,
Cool.
thank you. I'll see you next week, I guess, when we have our
Yeah.
meeting. All right.
All right. Take care. Bye.
See you.
Thanks.
You too.
Right.
Bye. Good luck.